Hi Stampers, welcome to the Roost. Today it rained all day yesterday, so there's absolutely nothing I can do outside today. It's still kind of cold and gloomy and windy and yuck. So it's a great day to work in the stamp room. So I just wanted to share with you today a technique that I learned from Kelly Atchison, another demonstrator out of Wisconsin. And this cool background camouflage technique is what I'm going to be showing you today. This is the card that she designed, and I love it. So I actually made a bunch of these and used them for a class, just exactly the way it is. But I do like to take and make a twist on things and kind of make it my own, which I hope you take the things you learn from me and do that as well. So I've created this very similar card using the same Wilderness Awaits stamp set and just jazzing it up a little bit with some different color, black background and different ribbon. And I want to show you another variation that that I'm going to do here. So let's learn the technique. Now you're going to start out with a piece of very vanilla paper that is cut to 3 3/4 by 5. So it's going to give you your smaller layer. And whoops, I guess first of all we'll start with some crumb cake on the base. And you're just going to go direct pad to paper for this. You can smear on as much or as little as you like. The joys of this is that every piece looks a little bit different, even if you're making both of them. And there's no wrong or right way to do this, so you can just keep adding. You can't subtract, of course. Next you're going to crumple your paper. Just give it a good squish. And then I'm going to take some wasabi. This is kind of going with the camouflage colors, and it's going to hit the spots that are highest, where you crinkled it, the up creases. We'll just crumple it up one more time. And you can vary the colors to get whatever look you want. And this is some old olive, which is awesome for, hunting type scenes. I think this is probably the most deep dark woods color that I can think of. So you see it's getting more of that camouflagey color. And then we're going to take a brown. Now you can kind of, we've got the crumb cake in there. You could use soft suede or espresso, depending upon how dark you wanted it to look. Chocolate chip. I'm going to actually use soft suede on this one. If you don't have all of the colors, you can certainly substitute. If you want the camouflage look, just kind of stick with your greens and a couple of browns. Maybe even a gray in there if you wanted. So this is soft suede. We're adding to it here. And then when you get to the point where it's looking pretty good, but I've got maybe a little bit too much of the very vanilla showing through, and I think I'm going to go back either to crumb cake or maybe my my old olive. And then if you just kind of stick your finger behind the white spots and push them up so that you can get them filled in a little bit more. And you can just keep going back with different colors until you have it exactly the way you want it to look. Crinkle it up more if you want more crinkly look to it, or less if you don't like the crinkle. But the crinkles will kind of give you that dappled sunlight kind of look. That's the camouflaging. So then once you have it the way you want it, take your bone folder, flip it over, and iron it. You're just gonna rub it out. Now you will notice, like, I got a little crazy maybe on crumpling. So I've got a tear here, but you're really, unless it's terrible, you can glue that back down. You're not going to notice it. Now I'm going to take, this is just a slightly larger piece of Very Vanilla, and you can use black or another color that you have in here. And I see that I missed a corner there. How the heck did I do that? Go back a little bit more on that corner. Okay. So this is going to be 5 1/4 by 4. So just a little bit bigger. And your paper might shrink a little bit if you want to trim it down some, you know, from all the crumpling. Use an adhesive that's fairly sticky. I'm going to use a liquid adhesive here, and this is the Tombow. Just because you've crumpled it and rumpled it, and it has lots of, it's not real flat, you might want to use either a lot of snail or the Tombow that's got a little bit more stick to it. You can also kind of wiggle it around too as you're gluing it on. So you're going to rub that down real good so that it sticks. Now for this one I'm going to use the Wetlands Goose. And I've now lost my piece of paper. Oh, here it is. Okay. And we're going to stamp her on the Very Vanilla also. And we'll do that with the soft suede. I like to kind of keep my my ink colors kind of the same, just because it makes it easier than having more and more stuff out. So once we have her stamped, we're going to go ahead and cut her out with the second largest framelit from the stitched framelit set. And you're going to cut off a little bit, but don't worry about that. Okay, so you can see you cut a little bit of the grass off, but not a lot. And then you're also going to cut out from the largest stitched framelits a little bit bigger layer, so that you're going to layer her on here. And did I say this is Old Olive? If I hadn't, it is. So we're going to go ahead and just layer those two together. So then before we adhere this to the card base, we want to take some burlap ribbon, and then you can offset this one way or the other, cut it at an angle, however you like to do your ribbon. For this one I'm going to take a piece of black, because the goose actually has a black head. Well, my goose has a soft suede head, but in real life I thought black would be good. And then I'm going to take a stapler and go ahead and staple right through the thick baker's twine, and that'll make it easier to tie my bow. I'm going to go ahead and get the bow tied, and then you can trim your ends to however long you want them. And I think I'm going to layer this goose probably down here. Now for this one I'm going to do a happy birthday greeting, and this is also from the Wetlands set. And we'll go ahead and do this in the soft suede because we have that right here. And this is just my piece of leftover paper from my goose. So then once you've stamped your greeting, just go ahead and cut it down to the size, you know, to fit for the greeting. And go ahead and layer a little piece of Old Olive. And we're going to just attach this on here. And you can, you know, move the greeting around depending upon what greeting you use, how it's going to situate on the card. And then all we have left to do is to add this to our card base. And there is a cool camouflage guy card for a goose hunter. Now, I did start to play with these backgrounds, the camouflage backgrounds, and you know, you could use these to make any kind of a camouflage. Now, I'm going to on this one, I'm going to add a daisy. So it really doesn't have the hunting camouflage look when you do this. I was thinking more of like a wildflower garden or a sunny meadow when I was thinking of this one. We're going to give the daisy a stem. And now you can also bend these photopolymer stamps, so if you wanted your stem to be, you know, a little bit twisted or bent, you can do that as well. So I've got to make another daisy here because I have two stems. So the Daisy Delight is actually going to be in the 2017-2018 catalog. And I am just going to stamp this in Smoky Slate. And this set actually has a punch that matches the daisy. Now, when you first see the daisy as a single flower, I mean, it's okay, you know, yeah, it's all right. But then when you layer it and you do 2 or 3 layers, it starts to be, wow, that daisy's really cool. It's kind of one of those funny things where it's amazing how an extra layer can add so much. It just gives it that depth and the more look of a real flower. So we've got our 2 layers here. Now another cool thing is this daisy has some 2-step stamping for the center, and we're just going to take the Daffodil Delight. It should be Daisy Delight maybe. I'm just going to go with a yellow center for these, and you can see this is just a plain circle, and then there's one that has like little dots, and you could either take the same color, and when you double stamp it's going to get darker, or you could go ahead and take a darker color and do it a little bit different. And I didn't need to do both of those, but I was just kind of wrapped up in it, so I was on a stamping frenzy, I guess. Then I'm going to take a glue dot, offset these so that we have, you know, a thicker daisy. Like I said, you could do 3 layers if you wanted as well. As long as I have these out here, I am just going to stick these babies down, and I might put 2 of them on here just because it's kind of a heavier flower. Go ahead and stick my daisy there, and that'll actually allow the petals, if I want to frill them out a little bit, I can do that for either layer because I don't have it directly glued onto the paper except for the center. So here you see you can also use this Camouflage Technique for a background for flowers. And I've also tried it. Now here's a piece where I took the all the purpley type colors that we have and did it in purple. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this one yet, but I'll come up with something. So I hope you've enjoyed this camouflage technique. And we've got you know, here you can see this is Kelly's original design that she had, and I didn't stray too far from it because it's an awesome design, and you have some good manly cards here for your hunting guys, or jazz it up a little bit and you can have a flowery card for a good friend, but just by pulling in some lighter greens rather than doing the browns. Hope you've enjoyed this technique. Hop on over to my website and purchase these supplies, or just look up some other ideas for another rainy day. Thanks for stopping. Hope to see you again.